A waitress saw a stepmom doing something unthinkable to a biker's son. What she discovered would expose a calculated plan that had already claimed lives. But when she spoke up, she triggered a response that nobody expected. 200 leather-clad warriors mobilized not for violence, but for something far more powerful. If you're new here, subscribe and comment your location below. Now, let's dive into what really happened. I never thought a Tuesday night shift would turn me into the person who saved a child's life. But that's exactly what happened at the Rusty Anchor, and I'm going to tell you everything. My name is Elena. I've been serving tables at this diner for 12 years now. I'm a mother of two, and over the years, I've learned to read people. You have to when you work with the public. You notice things, small things, things that don't add up. It started 2 months ago when this family began coming in every Tuesday night, always the same booth. Booth number 4 in the back corner. The father was a big man named Jax. Tattoos covered his arms and neck. He wore a leather vest with patches that said Iron Guardians. A biker, but despite his rough appearance, he was gentle, polite, always said please and thank you. His wife Miranda was different. She dressed like she had money, perfect hair, perfect makeup, designer purse. She worked as a nurse, she told me once. She always ordered a salad and barely touched it. But the boy Leo, he was the one who caught my attention. Leo was 10 years old. The first time I saw him, he looked healthy, a normal kid, but week after week, I watched him change. His skin turned pale, his eyes had dark circles underneath. He stopped smiling, he barely ate, and every single Tuesday night, the same thing happened. Miranda would pull out this special shake from her bag. She called it a protein shake, said it was for Leo's health. She made a big show of it, telling Jax how important it was for Leo to drink it, how the doctor recommended it, how it had special vitamins and nutrients. Jax would be looking at the menu or talking to me about his order, and that's when Miranda would do it. She'd turn slightly away, pull out this tiny vial from her purse, and squeeze 3 or 4 drops into the shake. Then she'd stir it with the straw and hand it to Leo. The first time I saw it, I thought maybe it was medicine, but something felt wrong. The way she looked around first, the way she hid the vial quickly, the way Leo's face fell when she handed him the drink. 15 minutes after Leo drank that shake, like clockwork, his face would go white. He'd grip his stomach, sweat would form on his forehead, and he'd rush to the bathroom. Sometimes he'd be in there for 20 minutes. When he came out, he looked like death. Miranda would act so concerned. "Oh honey, you're sick again, we need to get you home." But there was something in her eyes, something cold, something that didn't match her words. I started paying closer attention. I noticed Leo was only sick on Tuesday nights, only after drinking that shake. I noticed how Miranda always made sure Jax wasn't looking when she added those drops. I noticed how she'd check her phone right after Leo got sick, like she was timing something. And I noticed the look in Leo's eyes. He was scared, not of being sick, he was scared of her. One night I did something risky. I took out my phone and pretended to check a text message. But I was actually taking pictures. I captured Miranda pulling out the vial. I captured her adding the drops. I captured the timestamp. I did this for 3 weeks straight. I also started listening to their conversations. Miranda talked about life insurance a lot. She mentioned how important it was to have coverage for Leo. She mentioned the policy amount once, $2 million for a 10-year-old boy. That's when I knew this woman was poisoning her stepson. But I couldn't just call the police. I had no proof except my photos, and they might not be enough. I needed to tell Jax. I needed to make him see what was happening in his own home. The chance came on a Tuesday night about a week ago. Miranda finished her meal early and told Jax she had to leave for a late shift at the hospital. She kissed Leo on the head, a fake gesture that made my skin crawl, and walked out. I waited until Leo went to the bathroom, still sick from the shake. Then I approached Jax. My hands were shaking. This man was huge, a biker. What if he didn't believe me? What if he got angry? "Jax," I said quietly, sliding into the booth across from him. "I need to talk to you about Leo." He looked up, surprised. "Is everything okay?" "No," I said, "everything is not okay. Your son is being poisoned." His face went hard. What are you talking about? I pulled out my phone. I've been watching your family for 2 months. Every Tuesday, Miranda puts drops from a vial into Leo's shake. Then 15 minutes later, Leo gets violently sick. It happens every single time, only on Tuesdays, only after he drinks what she gives him. I showed him the photos, one by one. I had timestamps on all of them. I had zoomed in on the vial in her hand. Jack stared at the screen, his jaw clenched, his hands formed fists on the table. Why would she do this? Life insurance, I said. I heard her talking about a $2 million policy on Leo. Jax, I'm a mother. I've seen a lot in this diner. But what I'm seeing with your son, it's not natural illness. The substance she's using, based on Leo's symptoms, I think it's something that damages the digestive system slowly. It would look like a chronic disease, and if it continues, Leo will die. Jack stood up so fast the table shook. Where is he? Bathroom, I said. But Jax, you need to be smart about this. You need proof, real proof, and you need to protect Leo right now. He pulled out his phone with shaking hands. He called someone. Sealers, he said into the phone. I need the club, all of them. It's about Leo. I'll explain when you get here, but I need you now. He hung up and looked at me. Thank you, he said, and his voice cracked. Thank you for seeing what I couldn't see. Leo came out of the bathroom, looking terrible. Jax picked him up like he weighed nothing. We're going somewhere safe, buddy, he said. Dad's going to fix everything. They left the diner. I watched them go, hoping I'd done the right thing. The next morning, I came to work, and the owner called me into his office. I thought I was fired. Instead, there was a man sitting there. Big guy, older, with gray in his beard and patches on his vest that said President. Elena, he said, I'm Sealers, President of the Iron Guardians. Jax told me what you did. You saved that boy's life. Is Leo okay? I asked. He's safe, Sealers said. We have him in a protected location, and now we need your help to finish this. We need everything you know, every detail, every observation. I sat down and told him everything. The timeline, the pattern, the insurance talk, the vial. He recorded every word. We're not going to handle this the way you might think, Sealers said. We're not thugs. We're not going to hurt her. We're going to destroy her the right way, with evidence, with the law, but we need to move fast and we need to be thorough. He explained their plan. The Iron Guardians had resources most people didn't know about. Former cops, former lawyers, tech experts, military veterans. They were going to use every single one of them. They had a guy named Daniel. They called him Scribe. He was a retired lawyer. He was already filing emergency custody papers for Jax. They had a guy named Mark. They called him Spark. He was a computer genius. He was going to hack into Miranda's home security system and recover any evidence she might have deleted. They had a guy named James. They called him Doc. He was a former army medic. He was running a full toxicology screen on Leo at a private clinic. We're going to prove what she did, Sealers said, and then we're going to make sure she never hurts another child. Over the next 2 days, I watched the Iron Guardians work. It was like watching a military operation. They didn't drink, they didn't party, they were focused and professional. Mark broke into Miranda's digital life. He found her search history. She'd been researching poisons for months. Specifically, she'd been looking up substances that cause digestive failure. She'd made purchases through underground websites. He traced every transaction. James got Leo's test results back. The boy had high levels of a restricted substance in his blood, a substance that shouldn't be available to the public. But Miranda, as a specialized nurse, had access to the hospital's restricted medicine cabinet. They pulled her work records. 3 vials of the exact substance were missing, signed out under her authorization. Daniel found something even worse. Miranda had been married before. Her first husband died 5 years ago. Sudden heart failure, the death certificate said. He was only 35, and he had a life insurance policy worth $1.5 million. Miranda was the beneficiary. They dug deeper. That husband had been sick for months before he died. Digestive problems, just like Leo. She's done this before. Silas told me when he came back to the diner. She's a serial killer. She marries men with children, takes out policies on the kids, and kills them slowly. Then she moves on to the next family. I felt sick. How do we stop her? We already have, Silas said. Now we just need to close the trap. The next morning was Wednesday. I wasn't working, but Silas called me at 6 a.m. Get dressed, he said. You're going to want to see this. I drove to Miranda's neighborhood. It was a wealthy area called Silver Oaks. Big houses, quiet streets, perfect lawns, the kind of place where nothing bad ever happens. Except this morning, something was happening. I heard them before I saw them, the rumble of motorcycles, deep and loud. It echoed through the streets, and then they appeared, one after another, bikers in leather vests, the Iron Guardians. They filled the entire street. I counted as they lined up, 50 bikes, then 100, then 150. They kept coming. By the time they stopped, there were 200 motorcycles parked in formation along Miranda's street. But here's what shocked me. They didn't rev their engines, they didn't yell, they didn't threaten, they just stood there, silent, a wall of protection. Every single one of them was there to make sure justice happened the right way. Neighbors came out of their houses, people stared, some called the police, but Silas had already coordinated with the authorities. The police knew what was happening, they knew why the Iron Guardians were there. I watched as a team of bikers, led by Mark, entered Miranda's house. Jax had given them his key. They had legal authorization from the emergency custody order. They were searching for evidence. It took them 2 hours. They found everything. The vials hidden in Miranda's bathroom vanity, a notebook where she'd tracked Leo's symptoms day by day, insurance documents in a secret compartment in her desk, and emails, so many emails with a man named Paul. He was her accomplice. They'd been planning to split the insurance money. The emails were detailed, cold, calculating. Miranda wrote about how much longer it would take, how Leo was weaker but not weak enough, how she needed to increase the dosage. Paul responded with advice. He'd done research on how to avoid detection, how to make it look natural. They'd killed her first husband together too. Paul had been the one to suggest it. Miranda had been his girlfriend at the time. Then she married the man, took out the policy, and poisoned him. After he died, she split the money with Paul. Then she moved on to find her next target. That target was Jax. Daniel photographed everything. He documented the chain of custody. He made sure every piece of evidence would hold up in court. Then they waited. Miranda finished her shift at the hospital at 3 p.m. She had no idea what was waiting for her. She drove home in her expensive car, probably thinking about dinner or her next shift or how much longer until Leo died, and she got her money. She turned onto her street and stopped. 200 bikers lined the road. Her face went white. She tried to reverse, but police cars blocked her path. Detective David Richards approached her car. He'd been working with the Iron Guardians all day. He tapped on her window. She rolled it down, trying to look innocent. "Miranda Thompson," he said, "step out of the vehicle." "What's going on?" she asked. Her voice was shaking. "You're under arrest for attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, fraud, and the murder of Richard Thompson. Richard was her first husband." "I don't know what you're talking about," she said, but her face told a different story. Detective Richards held up a folder. "We have the vials, we have your purchase records, we have the emails between you and Paul Henderson, we have toxicology reports from your stepson showing poison in his system, we have your search history, we have witness testimony, and we have evidence that you did this exact same thing to your first husband." Miranda's mask fell. The concerned mother act disappeared. What remained was cold and empty. "You can't prove anything," she said. "We can prove everything," Detective Richards said. He pulled her out of the car and handcuffed her. The Iron Guardians watched in complete silence. No one cheered. No one celebrated. This wasn't a victory. This was justice for a child who almost died. Paul was arrested an hour later at his apartment. He tried to run, but the police were ready. He confessed within 24 hours. Hopping for a lighter sentence, he told them everything, how they'd planned it, how many times they'd done it. He even admitted to another victim, a woman from 5 years before Richard, 3 murders, 3 insurance payouts, all carefully planned, all disguised as natural deaths. The trial happened fast. The evidence was overwhelming. Miranda was convicted of 3 counts of murder and 1 count of attempted murder. She got life in prison with no possibility of parole. Paul got 35 years. But this story isn't really about them. It's about what happened after. Leo spent 3 months recovering. The poison had damaged his digestive system badly. He needed surgery. He needed medication. He needed time. But most importantly, he needed to feel safe again. The Iron Guardians made sure he felt safe. They took turns staying with Jax and Leo. They drove Leo to school. They attended his doctor appointments. They showed up to his physical therapy sessions. These big, scary-looking men with tattoos and leather vests became Leo's uncles, his protectors, his family. I visited them often. Jax invited me to their clubhouse for a dinner they held in my honor. I was nervous. I'd never been around bikers before, but when I walked in, they gave me a standing ovation. Grown men with tears in their eyes, thanking me for saving one of their own. "Your family now," Sealers told me, "always." They gave me a gift, a custom leather jacket with my name embroidered on it. Not a full member vest, they explained, but an honorary jacket. It meant I was protected. It meant I belonged. Over the next year, I watched Leo transform. The pale, sick boy became healthy again. His color came back. His smile came back. He gained weight. He started playing sports again. He laughed. And I watched the Iron Guardians transform too. What happened with Leo changed them. They realized they had power to help people, real people, vulnerable people, children who had no one else. Sealers called a meeting with the entire club. He proposed something new. They would create a legitimate organization, a non-profit. They would call it Guardian Angels on Wheels. Their mission would be to help children in dangerous situations, kids being abused, kids being neglected, kids who fell through the cracks of the system. They would use their resources, their connections, their experience to investigate cases that no one else would touch. They would work with law enforcement. They would follow the law, but they would be the voice for children who couldn't speak for themselves. The vote was unanimous. Every single member said yes. Within 6 months, Guardian Angels on Wheels saved 4 more children. They exposed a foster care worker who was abusing kids. They found evidence against a teacher who was trafficking students. They rescued a girl who was being held by her own mother for insurance fraud. They built cases so strong that every perpetrator went to prison. The media noticed. At first they were skeptical, bikers helping kids, but the results spoke for themselves. The organization grew, other motorcycle clubs joined, donations poured in. They opened offices in 3 states. 1 year after that terrible Tuesday night, Leo and Jax came back to the Rusty Anchor. It was a Tuesday, the same day of the week, but everything was different. Leo walked in smiling. He looked healthy, strong, happy. He wore a small leather vest that the club had made for him. It said Guardian Angel on the back. They sat in booth number 4, the same booth where I'd first noticed something was wrong. But this time, there was no poison, no fear, just a father and son having dinner together. I brought them menus, the usual, I asked. "Actually," Leo said, "I want a cheeseburger, extra fries, and a chocolate milkshake." Jax laughed. "Doctor says he can eat whatever he wants now. His stomach is completely healed." I felt tears in my eyes, 1 cheeseburger coming up. After they ate, Jax handed me an envelope. "Open it," he said. Inside was a check, a large check. "We can't accept this," I said. "It's not from us," Jax explained. "Miranda's life insurance policies were voided due to her crimes. The insurance companies donated the money to Guardian Angels on Wheels. We're using it to help more kids, but we wanted to give you something. That check is a college fund for your 2 kids. Full tuition. It's the least we can do." I couldn't speak. I just hugged them both. Leo pulled back and looked at me seriously. Miss Alina, he said, you saved my life. The doctors said if you hadn't noticed when you did, I would have died in 2 more weeks. My organs were shutting down. You saw me when no one else did. You spoke up when it was scary. You're my hero. That's when I lost it. I cried right there in the diner. This beautiful child was alive because I'd paid attention, because I'd trusted my instincts, because I'd been brave enough to say something. You're going to be okay now, I told him. You're going to have an amazing life. I already am, Leo said. He smiled at his dad. I have the best dad in the world, and I have 200 uncles who would do anything for me. Before they left, Leo asked if he could show me something. We walked outside to the parking lot. There next to Jax's big motorcycle was a small custom bike. Bright blue, just Leo's size, training wheels still attached. Dad built it for me, Leo said proudly. When I'm ready, we're going to ride together, just like a real guardian. I watched as Leo climbed on the small bike, Jax climbed on his, and together, father and son rode around the parking lot. Leo's laugh echoed in the night air, pure joy, pure freedom, pure life. The Iron Guardians had shown me something important. Strength isn't about violence. It's not about intimidation. Real strength is about protecting people who can't protect themselves. It's about using your power for good. It's about standing up when everyone else looks away. The Tuesday night changed all of us. It changed Leo, who learned that the scariest-looking people can be the safest. It changed Jax, who learned to trust his instincts about the people in his life. It changed the Iron Guardians, who became heroes instead of outlaws. And it changed me. I learned that one person paying attention can change everything. I learned that speaking up, even when you're scared, can save a life. I learned that family isn't just blood. It's the people who show up when you need them most. Every Tuesday now, I work the evening shift at the Rusty Anchor. And every Tuesday, I watch the people in my diner a little more carefully. Because you never know when someone needs help. You never know when your voice might be the only voice that speaks for someone who can't speak for themselves. Leo is 12 now. The training wheels came off his bike last month. He rides next to his father with confidence and joy. He wants to be a guardian angel when he grows up. He wants to help kids like himself, kids who are scared, kids who are trapped, kids who need someone to notice. And I know he will, because he learned from the best. He learned that real strength is quiet, that real power is precise, that real justice doesn't come from fists, it comes from courage. The Rusty Anchor still sits on the corner of 5th and Main. Booth number 4 is still in the back, but now, when I look at it, I don't see the place where a child was being poisoned. I see the place where 200 bikers changed the world, one life at a time. Thank you for watching this incredible true story of courage and justice. Would you trust your instincts if you notice something wrong happening right in front of you? Could you be brave enough to speak up and save a life? Subscribe now, drop a comment with your location, and let me know what you would have done in Alina's situation.